Hey guys, my name is Alexa, or Happy Camper if you see me on trail. I just got home from hiking the Appalachian Trail in 2022, and today I am going to do a little gear review for you. Um, it was super important for me when I was preparing for trail to get as much information as I could about gear, so I'm gonna hopefully do that for you today. I'm gonna start with my big three, which is the shelter, tent, well, shelter is a tent. Shelter, backpack, and sleeping bag. So for my backpack, I had the popular Hyper Light Mountain Gear Wind Rider 3400. This thing is 55 liters and it has this outside mesh compartment, which was excellent for drying off gear that was wet from the rain. So I love that and highly recommend getting a bag that has outer mesh to dry out gear if you're planning on hiking the AT. I also love these front pockets here. They're great. And the inside is just one kind of pit. So there's no like inner compartments, but worked out excellent. The Dyneema fabric is naturally waterproof. So just pairing it with a compactor bag on the inside should keep your gear plenty dry. Next, we have the Magma, my beloved Magma sleeping bag. So this is an REI bag. It's a mummy, like it has a mummy fit, and it was $400, and I think it weighs like just under 2 pounds, depending on whether you get long or regular. But anyway, love this bag. Super warm. It has a 17-degree comfort rating, so it was great in the Smokies. It was great when it dropped below like 30 degrees. I have no complaints about this. Highly recommend. Next we have the Tigerwall UL2 Mountain Glow tent. So this tent cost me $450. I think it weighs 2 pounds and 9 ounces. It has 2 doors, 2 vestibules, and it's a partially freestanding tent. So you can kind of make do if you have to set it up on a platform. I love this tent. It's great with moisture control. Kept me dry, even in the worst of storms. There's a couple nights that some water soaked through, but for the most part, this thing was great. And since I'm extra, I also bought the matching footprint, which was excellent just because it has these clasps that hook right into the tent. So it made it super easy to set up. This thing cost $50. A lot of people just end up doing Tyvek instead of buying a footprint to match their tent because it's cheaper, but I just went for it. Okay. Next, we're going to do the sleeping pad. So this is the Neo Air X Lite sleeping pad. It's $200 and it weighs 12 ounces and it has an R value of 5.4. So this is a pretty warm sleeping pad. You won't find much warmer than this. It was great aside from the fact that it sounds like sleeping on a bag of potato chips for about the first 2 months of lying on it. So if you have a choice or the option, I would definitely try to like wear it out before going on trail, because what's the point of a sleeping pad if you can't sleep on it? Anyway, this thing, this little number here, I was made fun of frequently for carrying this with me the whole trail, but I brought it anyway. This is a sleeping pad pump. It is called Neo Air Micro Pump. It cost me like $40, which I know is pretty outrageous, but I loved this thing. It prevented me from having to blow up my sleeping pad every night, which I loved. Saved me a lot of time, and it only weighs, it only weighs 2 ounces, so whatever. What's an extra 2 ounces, right? All the ultralighters are like rolling over in their graves right now. So next, let's do the pillow system here. So this is the Philo backpacking pillow by Nemo. It cost me $39 and weighs 9 ounces. It has this little foam padding inside that is removable, which is great because with this padding, it's pretty bulky. But you blow it up like this. And super comfortable pillow. It has a great rating from backpackers, but it's just not necessarily the most compact pillow that you'll find. One great thing about it is that you can remove the pillowcase here and wash it, which I liked because obviously can't really be that clean on trail, so that was nice. Next, we will do the camp stove. So I had the MSR Pocket Rocket. This is a very common stove on trail. It cost me $89, pretty expensive, and it weighed about 10 ounces. You can see this is a little stove in here. I've just bagged up. I had a spork. It was called Snow Peak Titanium Spork. That was 0.6 ounces. It was $10 on Amazon. I accidentally threw it away somewhere in New York, I think, but I got a different one that I have somewhere buried in my clothes. But yeah, the Snow Peak was great, super light, durable, highly recommend. So as for my bear bagging system, I had the Z-Packs bear bagging kit here. Once again, you'll see this everywhere on trail, mostly in blue, but I had the green one. This cost me $64, and it is 3.4 ounces. This paracord is super annoying, I will warn you. I would just get your own separate paracord. The one that Z-Packs includes with the kit is really, really thin, and it tangles really easily. So I would just go ahead and do yourself a favor, get a thicker cord. It will save you some agony when you are just trying to go to bed and standing outside of a tangled mess, you know, just wanting to go to sleep, but it takes 40 minutes to unravel your stupid rope, you know? It's annoying. Okay, so next we're going to do the sleeping bag liner. So this is the Sea to Summit Thermo Light. See if I can remember this. I can't. Reactor Extreme. So this thing is like a whole pound. It's kind of excessive. I probably didn't need to go this hardcore with the liner, but I did because I was scared of being cold. This thing cost me $70 and it adds up to 25 degrees of heat, in your bag. So it was excellent in the Smokies. There was a couple nights where I was so grateful I had this, but at the end of the day, I only needed it for like maybe 2 nights on trail. Not super necessary. Okay, water treatment system. Just go ahead and do yourself a favor. Get the regular sized Sawyer if that is the water filtration system that you're going to be working with. I saw some people doing Catadine and some other systems, but the vast majority of people had Sawyers. Just do not get the mini. I started with that. It is far too small, and it takes far longer to filter your water if you get the mini. So do the original size. Next, we will do electronics. How about that? So this is my outdoor research dry bag that I stored all my electronics in. First and foremost, this was, I think, like $12. Kept everything dry, served its purpose. So as far as portable chargers go, I had the Anker PowerCore 3 Elite 25,600 amp bank, which is just way overkill unless you're trying to do a lot of vlogging or taking pictures, stuff like that. This thing is super heavy. How heavy is it? It's 1.3 pounds. Ridiculous. And it cost me $130. I was really nervous about running out of battery on trail just because I had never been backpacking before, and if I was lost somewhere in the forest and needed to get in contact with somebody, I wanted to make sure I always had a charge. So I did. This thing was great. It can charge iPhone 11 up to 4 times, I think, for full charges, and typically you don't use 100% of your battery on trail in a day. So I got this thing to last me up to a week almost. This is another excessive thing that people thought was a little crazy, but they actually ended up being very envious of me when I was sleeping in a shelter because I could sleep and they couldn't. This is called the Mydola Sleep Headband. White noise headphones, wireless Bluetooth, sports built-in HD stereo speaker. Okay, that was a lot. This thing is $18 and it was 3.5 ounces. I bought it on Amazon and it has up to 70 hours per charge of white noise. That's why I bought it. Sleeping in shelters is horrendous for light sleepers. People roll around all night and the snorers sound like a choir of warthogs under the stars. It's just brutal. Okay, so do yourself a favor, get this thing, get some earplugs, and you'll have at least a chance at getting a couple hours of sleep. Otherwise, it's terrible. This thing was great. You could actually connect your iPhone to it as well, so if you want to listen to music on trail, like in the winter, it was nice. Could keep it as like ear warmth headband as well. But yeah, I used this and I kept it with me the entire trail. For my watch, I had the Garmin Instinct GPS watch. It was $150. Pretty popular on trail. There's a solar one that's way more expensive. This one was $150 and it worked great. It took about, I would say, 30 minutes to get a full charge from my power bank at the end of the night. So super worth it. All right, as for my headlamp, I had the Nightcore NU25 series headlamp. This thing worked better than any of my hiking partners' headlamps. It cost me $30, yes, and it's just under an ounce. This thing is a chargeable headlamp, so you don't need any batteries, but you do need to charge it ever so often. So that's something to think about. All right, as for trekking poles, these are what I ended up with at the end of the trail. Completely different poles. Most people's end up snapping or breaking, I think, at one point or another. But this, I did have this version from the get-go. This is a Fizan compact trekking pole. It's ultralight, and it's supposedly one of the lightest in the world. It is only 5.6 ounces. Cost me $70 on Amazon. I loved this trekking pole. Super light. I missed my other one. It's somewhere in Maine. Snapped in half. But I would totally get Fizan again. So this is not my original pee rag, but I do know that I started with a rag called Piss Off, and it's called Piss Off, so obviously I had to buy it. It was $13 and 0.7 ounces, and I believe it's antimicrobial and lined with silver, so that's good for obviously preventing any rancid smell from accumulating. I love a pee rag. It is a totally necessary part of a female's backpacking inventory. So one of my most beloved items on trail is my couch. I actually lost my couch about a weekend, and my bestie Tips found it for me. And I hadn't seen him for months at a time. But I always, in my heart, whenever I saw my couch that I was sitting on, thought of him. And then, it turns out he ended up hiking like the last month with me, which was so much fun. But this thing is from Amazon. You will find more expensive versions elsewhere. It's called Red Camp Foam Hiking Seat Pad. Foldable Z Ultralight Sitting Pad. It was $12, and it is 2.1 ounces. And it was an amazing product. Your buns will thank you. I don't care what anybody says. Get yourself a damn couch. Do it. So, stuff sacks. I had quite a few from Amazon, but they were cheap. $22 for a 5-pack of what's called Free Laxi stuff sacks. They're also waterproof, quote unquote. I don't know. I never really tested this gear and left it out in the rain, obviously, but it kept my gear dry, so that was great. These held up well. $22, comes with 5. I only ended up using like a couple on trail. All right, so as for like first aid related things, I ended up just getting like a $7 first aid kit from Amazon. I took a lot of this stuff out. You don't need the vast majority of it, but definitely kept Band-Aids, antiseptic wipes, and stuff like that. In it, I also put some gear repair tape. This is from Gear Aid. It's tenacious tape repair patches. It costs like $4 for several of these round type ones. And I also just cut out like a little square of the same type of thing. Also in this bag that I had, a first aid, I kept these little Sea to Summit laundry pod type things. They're actually like little leaflets, and I believe it costs like $5 for a small pack. But this was great because it was really difficult to find detergent sometimes. Not every gas station has it, and sometimes it would require like walking an extra who knows how long to get to a store to do your laundry or to start it. So it was great just to have these on hand. Your clothes aren't going to smell like lilacs after you wash them, but at least it gets the job done. And I store them in these little plastic bags that I actually found super useful on trail. I believe they're called Easy Dose pill packs. I got them on Amazon for $5. I think it comes with like 100. So that they're this size. So you can see I still have some packs here, but I kept medication in these, and that's how I stored them on trail. Speaking of medication, I actually brought doxycycline with me on trail for Lyme disease. Ended up getting Lyme disease, and I didn't know that. So these could have come in handy, but didn't. I would definitely go to your doctor, get some Doxy just to, save yourself the headache if you ended up getting a tick bite that lasts for longer than 24 hours once it's embedded. What else did I keep in there? I kept a nail clipper, which I'll link below. I just got like a baby nail clipper, less weight and a little bit smaller. And I also kept some Dr. Bronner's, which I stored in a little lip gloss container actually that I found on Amazon. So Dr. Bronner's is this like 18-in-1 soap. Pretty much everybody has it on trail. You can use it for pretty much everything. Laundry, toothpaste actually, just standard soap, cleaning your dishes and whatnot. So it's great to have. And I got this Han Bay 10-piece 15 milliliter refillable clear empty lip gloss containers on Amazon for about $7, I believe. And this is how I stored them. I think it's 0.5 ounces that you end up carrying, which is great to have for, a certain amount of time so you're not carrying a big thing like this. I also always carried aqua tabs, at least like a few of them, in case your water filtration system ever fails. In the winter months, it's good to keep in mind you have to sleep with your filter every night so it doesn't freeze. But I did keep these with me as well for emergency measures. In addition, I also kept a little ball of Pyro Putty fire starter. So this thing is $12 per container, I believe. And I just took a little ball, wrapped it in some saran wrap, and I carried that with me. And it just, it takes a lot less effort when you have something like this on hand. So everybody was very excited when I pulled this bad boy out. I always carried Aquaphor with me. This one is pretty grungy, as you can see, but carried this for chapstick, for any other purposes that you can use Aquaphor for. I just find that it's more versatile than chapstick. And then I also kept earplugs in my first aid kit. That's just where I stored them. Oopsie. Yep. You know what those look like. Yep. And then I tried this little thing called reusable floss. It's called Simply Floss. I would link it, but these things were just terrible. They ripped almost immediately. They were not durable at all. In theory, would have been great if they worked. Less waste to carry out on trail as well. But they didn't work great, so I ended up just switching to floss. Also, I carried an extra O-ring for my water filtration system always, because sometimes they get a little worn out and you have to have an extra one on hand. So scissors, not everybody is gonna have a use for scissors, but for gear patching, they're great. For first aid, wonderful. You can always find a use for these things. So these are the Claws 18420 3-inch titanium fine cut scissors. They're like $5. They're 0.16 ounces, so really light. Then I have my hairbrush. This thing is called the Trikeel Mini Hairbrush. It's $5. It's 0.2 ounces. Don't know how, but it is. It's the lightest one that I found. Did the job. And then I did get 2 Lopsacs, is what they're called. They're Opsac barrier bag, but Lopsac is the name advertised on Amazon. So I stored a lot of my like hygiene stuff in here so I wouldn't have to hang it. So I brought just like 2 of these over the course of the trail. Whew, I think that's pretty much it for now. I'm going to do a separate video for my clothes just because there's way too much to fit in one video. I hope this was helpful. If you want to see more content or like want to give me some topics to cover about my experience on trail, I would love to do that. You can find me on Instagram at LexaTreks, LexaTreks. Otherwise, you can drop a comment here and I would love to be in touch with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love, happy hiking, and I look forward to seeing you soon.